It's horse beef, man. No one gives a shit about this card. I get it, man. I was kind of juggling with the idea of not even posting my predictions or just treating this like it's a fight night and just putting out like a little community post with my predictions, just circling everyone's noggin. But I figured, yeah, sure, it's a pay-per-view, but what is it with Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland that entices the matchmakers to give them the worst undercard known to man? Does the UFC not want eyes on Dricus or Sean Strickland? I can't really wrap my head around it any other way, because UFC 297 is eerily similar to this one as far as quality, but this one is arguably even worse, maybe a bit better though, because the co-main event of that event of UFC 297 was, I think, Raquel Pennington versus Mara Bueno Silva and Weili Jiang versus Tatiana Suarez. It's just a better fight overall on paper. So maybe you could argue this one is better. Plus we have like the Lion, right? Anshul Jubilee. The one to take down Islam Makhachev. I'm sure we can all agree on that one. But yeah, you know what, man? We do have Niam Jargo, Tumendemberel, dude. So maybe this card is better than I thought it was originally. But let's just go through each fight individually. I'll give you my predictions. I'm sorry if this one seems low effort. It's because I don't believe that this card deserves much of my effort. I really don't think so, or anyone's effort for that matter, because it's an insult to fans. And to charge full price for this, I recommend looking at or checking out Vampiric Leg's newest video on this card. I think he honestly had it spot on. So please check out Vampiric Leg's most recent upload if you haven't already, right? But yes, Hyun Sung Park versus Niam Jargo Tumendemberel. I believe Hyun Sung Park is an undefeated South Korean prospect. Yes, he is undefeated, 9-0 versus 8-1. Niam Jargo Tumendemberel. Okay. Can you tell I've been practicing saying his name in the mirror? Because believe me, I have been. But this fight is tough to say, like, considering it's the year 2025 and this is so far the year of fighters losing their O. I'm going to pick this fight based off of that alone and say Niam Jargo Tumendemberel by decision. I'm just going to say that based off this being the year of fraud checks. Then we get into the one that we've all been waiting for, man. Quillen Salkilld versus Anshul Jubilee. Very compelling matchup. Come on, man. We've been waiting for this one. We've been waiting for the return of Anshul Jubilee. I think he lost in his debut. Does he have a win in the UFC? I'm not even sure that he does. But I'm not picking him here, man. I'm picking the Aussie. He's making his debut in the UFC, or is this his debut? I actually can't really tell from this graphic right here because it shows Anshul Jubilee's record being 7-1, which is his overall MMA record, I'm pretty sure. And then you have this dude's record being 1-0 in his last fight debut. So was his debut in the UFC or his debut in MMA? UFC team, get your shit together, fix the display, because this really doesn't make sense. Like, what record is being shown? The overall record of the UFC record? I can't tell, but I'm just going to choose him to beat Anshul Jubilee because that would be hilarious. That would be funny, right? I like reading like the little like cope comments from people, and I can only assume just based off the population of India, there would be a hilarious number of coping comments if Anshul Jubilee lost the fight. Not saying I want him to lose or anything for any particular reason. I just think it would be funny. So Anshul Jubilee is going to lose by TKO for the comedic aspect of it. Then we get Jonathan Micallef versus Kevin Jousset. I believe Kevin Jousset was the one who was finished by Brian Battle when they fought in France, and he delivered that pretty awesome promo for being real here. But listen, dude, I have no idea. Again, with this stupid display. But I'm going to pick Kevin Jousset by decision. This card is so terrible. Holy shit, man. Like, the more I look at it, the more it actually kind of rubs me the wrong way. And then we get into Rong Zhu versus Cody Steele. Now, look, 1-0 it says, but it doesn't show that it's his debut. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm confused with the display. But Rong Zhu, I'm just going to pick him. I don't really know, man. This is so difficult, dude. This is so difficult. But I'm picking Rong Zhu by second round TKO. He is a pretty good striker. I do enjoy watching Rong Zhu. He's actually a pretty good fighter. I rate him, although, again, man, not worth me putting any thought into it. But we get into one that actually is pretty intriguing. Colby Thickness versus Alexander Topuria. So we have Ilia Topuria's brother versus a protege of Alexander Volkanovski. So that's pretty cool, I suppose. It's like the spiritual successor to Volkanovski versus Ilia Topuria. And I don't know what to make of this. Both men are making their debut. Both men could very well be overhyped, right? Both men, by the by the opposite camp, or being called like can crushers and all that by the fans of each guy, or calling the other one the can crushers. All we know is that these guys are going to fight and something's going to happen. I know the combined record of Alexander Topuria's opponents hasn't been great, and if we're to go based off of history, right, trends, then considering he's the brother of a super elite fighter, then he should be like pretty trash, to be honest with you. But I watched some highlights. Of Colby Thickness as well. Colby Thickness seems very basic. I'm not going to lie. He comes across as very basic. He's good. He's well-rounded. Seems like a jack of all trades, master of none. While Alexander Topuria, he moves a lot like Ilya, right, on the feet. He moves a lot like him. Good footwork like Ilya Topuria. Throws big shots, has good boxing fundamentals, and he's good on the ground. Like, he's very similar to Topuria, just I would assume lower level than him. According to Ilya, he's even better than Ilya is, but I'm going to pick Alexander Topuria, and I'm going to pick him by second round TKO, because I did notice that in his fights he has a propensity to let it all go in the first round, and then he kind of slows down a little bit. But he's good. I don't think he's a can crusher. I mean, maybe he's crushed cans, but if you just look at the eye test, you look at the skill set, he, in my opinion, is the better fighter than Colby and will finish him. And this is a pretty interesting one, I guess, but like, just considering how bad the card is, like this is fucking all the proof in the world you need for how terrible this card is, that people are getting hyped up about Colby Thickness versus Alexander Topuria. That's how terrible this card is. We get into a pretty intriguing female fight, honestly. Wang versus Bruna Brasil. Bruna Brasil is a fighting nerd, and she's looked great. She's looked great in her last few fights. Fucked up Molly McCann, thank God. And Wang got quote-unquote fraud checked in her last fight. Now, this is super intriguing, but I'm honestly going to pick Bruna Brasil. Even though Wang has bombs in those hands, I think Bruna Brasil, I know she's much better on the ground, and I think she can do a job on her on the feet, too. She's looked a lot better on the feet in her last few fights. I think she'll pick her apart, man. I think she will. I honestly think she will. Maybe Wang will land a big shot at some point, but I think Bruna Brasil just has too much in the arsenal for her, and will get it done. I'm gonna say second round submission. I think she'll catch her. I think she'll catch her in a submission. We get another pretty intriguing matchup, especially when the striking comes into play. Tom Nolan, long, lanky striker. He's very technical. He's very good. 6'3" at that weight class is just nuts. And then you got Borshchev, who got dropped by Chase Hooper last time out. I used to be pretty hot on this dude. I'm not too convinced. But he's a good boxer. He is. He's a good striker overall. I think Tom Nolan has him beat there. I'm honestly gonna pick him. I am going to pick him. I think he's going to pick him apart, man. I think, they get in the pocket. He has him beat in the clinch as well. He'll have him done with elbows and knees. And just when it comes to the boxing as well, I think Tom Nolan just has the advantage there too. And I just think he's too long, too lanky, too sharp. And I think he'll finish Borshchev. I'm going to say first round. Even though I like Borshchev, and I expect if it's not a first round finish, then this will be a war. This will be a bloody, grueling war, and it'll be a fun one for us to watch. Then we get Jack Jenkins versus Gabriel Santos. Now, I do like Jack Jenkins. He's a good leg kicker, pretty good striker overall. Gabriel Santos is quite good himself. I don't really know who to pick, but I'm going to pick the hometown boy and go with Jack Jenkins. I don't know if I see him TKOing Gabriel Santos, but I am going to pick decision victory. I think 29-28. I think it'll be a close one regardless. Then we get into the main card here. Jake Matthews versus Francisco Prado, the Argentinian Drew Dober. I mean, look at the chin. He's the only one who can really challenge Drew Dober for the most Giga Chad chin in the UFC. But Jake Matthews is quite good. Francisco Prado, he's short, he's stocky, he's a banger, he's a slugger. Jake Matthews has so much more experience though. A bit inconsistent on again, off again with how good he looks. He came in against Andre Fialho a few years back and looked like a world beater. And then, I don't know, just very inconsistent. He's not able to put up those types of performances the higher up the rankings he gets. This is a tough one. I'm hoping for just an all-out war here, and I don't even know who to pick, man. At the end of the day, though, I am going to pick Jake Matthews because I think he has the advantage on the feet, and I think he'll piece up Francisco Prado. But I think this will be a war, and I'm going to pencil this one in for my early fight of the night. I think this will be a slugfest. I do think it'll be a slugfest in the end, but I'm picking Jake Matthews by TKO. Decision. But I think you'll put hands on Francisco Prado, although Prado is very, very tough. Jimmy Crute versus Rodolfo Bellato. Why this is on the main card of a pay-per-view is just ridiculous. I don't know who to pick here, man. Jimmy Crute is the hometown guy. He's the Aussie here, I guess. But I don't really rate his skill set that much, to be completely real with you guys. What the fuck just happened? Let's expand that once again. And Rodolfo Bellato, like, I don't rate him that much, but he is pretty good on the ground and he is tough. I'm gonna pick him. I'm gonna say he's gonna submit Jimmy Crute in the second round and silence the crowd, if the crowd even gives a shit to watch this terrible card to begin with. Then we get into Justin Tafa against Thaleson Teixeira. What is going on here? Dana White Contender Series, man. Listen, he's a 6'7" heavyweight against this little Justin Tafa, this tubby fucking heavyweight. Like, Justin Tafa should be a middleweight at the end of the day, right? If he gave a shit enough to cut weight and actually get himself in proper condition. I'm just going to pick Thaleson Teixeira to win this. I think he's going to TKO Justin Tafa in the first round. He's long, he's tall, he has all the physical advantages, and I think he's going to put those to work. And then we get into a title fight. Oh my God, must be great, right? Oh wait, Weili Zhang versus Tatiana Suarez. Now this one is only interesting because it's Tatiana Suarez involved. You know, she beat cancer. Crazy injuries. She's had an unlucky run, man. So I think people just want to see how good she really is. Sean Strickland said she's on the spectrum recently too, so that kind of got me a little bit more interested in the matchup. And like, ultimately, it's hard to see anybody going out there and beating Zhang Weili. It is tough, man, because skill for skill, I just think she's the best female fighter in the world, maybe of all time. When you really look at it skill for skill, so good on the feet. I feel like she's lost a bit of that edge on the feet since she's leaned more in the grappling, right? Because against Yan Xiaonan, she was honestly being way outdone on the feet, right? I think back in the day, like when she was more reliant on her striking, like her striking base, where she came from, she was able to do very well against one of the best strikers in female MMA history, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and then got kind of pieced up by Yan Xiaonan and had to grapple in order to win that fight, right? But that's the point, is that she's so well-rounded now, and that's what you really need to be a dominant champion. But Tatiana Suarez can probably handle Weili Zhang on the ground relatively easily. I don't know about easily, but she definitely has her beat there. And then on the feet, maybe because Zhang Weili doesn't have that same edge she used to, I don't know if I can really see her catching or knocking out Tatiana Suarez. Like, Tatiana Suarez is relentless, man. Undefeated, wrestling pedigree, autismo. I'm picking her. To me, it just seems like it's the time. Like, it seems written in the stars. She seems very confident as well. I watched the press conference. She seems to know something that we all don't. And I'm just gonna pick her, right? I'm gonna pick her, even though I like Zhang Weili. I do like her. She's got like a cutesy little personality. You know, she's well-rounded. She's very skilled. Especially for a female fighter. Like, she is easily the most skilled, maybe of all time. But I'm picking Tatiana Suarez, and I'm going to pick her by decision. I could even see her choking out Zhang Weili. I can see that happening too. Maybe even ground and pounding her. I don't know, dude. It's hard to really say. Tatiana, to go based off what we've seen of her in the octagon, she can beat everybody. Absolutely. But the ring rust, will it come into play? Let's see how it goes. But yeah, I'm going to pick her by decision. And then we get to the main event, the only fight on the card people really care to see. And this fight, like the first fight, was pretty good. It was honestly pretty good. And I think this one will be more of the same. I don't know if Sean Strickland will come out there with more pop. I don't know, like more willing to throw down, more willing to put real damage on Dricus du Plessis. But to everyone saying that he just jabs and he teeps, yes, he does do that for the most part. But he was landing big shots on Dricus. He was landing big right hands. He was following up more than he normally does against Dricus. And I think that stylistically, he's honestly the worst matchup in the division for Dricus. He's a great anti-wrestler, great at staying on his feet, great at getting back to his feet if he is taken down, and just very defensively responsible. And Dricus loves his big looping punches, and Sean Strickland is great at defending against and avoiding big looping punches. So it's tough to predict this fight either way it goes. I understand that a lot of people are predicting Dricus du Plessis to go out there and finish Sean Strickland this time. I think it's going to go to decision once again. I think we're going to get a really closely contested fight. But as of right now, I am picking Dricus du Plessis. I think he's going to win this one, and I think the scorecards will be just as tight as the first time around. I don't think anything's changed here, right? Dricus hasn't changed anything about his style. Sean Strickland has shown nothing different about his style. He went out there against Paulo Costa and put on a vintage Sean Strickland boring-ass performance, walking towards him, and literally only jabbed and teeped for the entirety of that fight until the last 10 seconds of it, where he threw a high kick that landed on the guard and dropped Paulo Costa. Oh my God, crazy. No, but Dricus du Plessis happens to be one of the only fighters I can think of who stylistically forces Sean to fight, right? He does not take rounds off, nothing. He's always coming at you. He's always trying to land something on you. And he's trying to fucking throw down, right? So Sean has to oblige. Otherwise, he will get finished here. And Sean Strickland, as we know, like, yes, when he gets in there and when he can dictate the pace, we all know that Sean Strickland can be boring 100%. But we also saw, based on that first fight against DDP, that he was willing to match the energy and throw down with Dricus du Plessis when it got dirty. You know what I mean? So I think counting out Strickland in this fight is extremely foolish. I think so, because Strickland's really good and people need to give him more credit. But of course, he says controversial shit, so people will do anything to take away from him. But I am still going with Dricus du Plessis nonetheless by decision. Like I said, I can also see him potentially submitting Sean Strickland, maybe, just maybe. But it's so hard to see Sean Strickland getting finished by anybody. But this fight, I think, will be a banger. I think it'll be good. If Jake Matthews versus Francisco Prado isn't fight of the night, then this one will definitely be fight of the night otherwise. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about this card, guys. I'm sorry, I know it's a low effort video. It's kind of a throwaway video, and I do feel bad about that, genuinely. But I just could not bring myself to really put a lot of effort, as I said, into my predictions for this card. But anyway, guys, look forward to future videos coming out soon. I will obviously do a recap on the pay-per-view after the fact on Sunday. I may even post a video tomorrow. Let's see how things go. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.